What's up, Rockstars? If you recall, this is part 2 of a mega update because crowdfunding for board games is on fire literally right now. It's insane. Q4 of every year is crazy. This one's no different. There are a ton of cool indie games you might not even know exist, some that are super struggling to even fund. Why is that? When they look good, we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about upcoming games like The Last of Us. This stuff is coming out in even just a few days. A ton of cool stuff coming out and massive canceled campaigns that made over $2 million. What's going on? Let's discuss. Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. Like I alluded to in the intro here just now, this is part 2 of a mega update. I recorded this whole thing and it was an hour long and I was like, I'm not going to just throw that much info at you right away. While it's a lot and that's everything that I'm only just covering, it is something that I want to make sure you guys take the time to really kind of see what's available and give everything kind of time to actually breathe a little bit. So this is all of the campaigns that are live right now that are more indie, that are maybe struggling, stuff like that still look super cool. Most of these are awesome looking games, so we're going to be talking about that. And then of course upcoming stuff. The Last of Us was announced, so you get to see a first look at a brand new The Last of Us board game. You guys are going to be very interested in that. It's a seriously interesting art direction there. And of course canceled campaigns, stuff like that. It's going to be a good ride here. So yeah, let's dive right in. Now let's go to the more unfortunate side of things. That looked cool, and I could just have ended the video there. You guys would have been happy. That's a lot of content already for you, and you guys know everything that's kind of coming up. But this is a very meaty update. This is a lot. And honestly, there's a lot on crowdfunding right now, and it's not all doing well. What you saw, that's it. The rest of this video is dealing with stuff that isn't, and showing off some cool new stuff that's coming up. But it's tough out there because there are so many cool games. Right? I just showed a whole bunch of freaking awesome stuff. So, I mean, you make 1 or 2 mistakes or you don't have what it takes to get your game out there and stuff like that, man, it gets rough. So let's go on and start with the Thinning Veil. This was something I've been super pumped about just because it sounds cool. It's based off Halloween. It has fantastic art. It has Celtic origins when it comes to like its design and stuff like that. Cool miniatures. I love unique stuff with this. I don't have a miniature like that, which means I want it. I want unique stuff. You know how many minis I have back behind me? A lot. Do I need another orc? No. Do I have one of these? No. So I want one of those, right? So that's really cool too. That being said, 43,000 out of 172. Now, still 27 days ago, this is not a short campaign, and I have seen this kind of stuff work out. It worked for Sheol, for instance, though just barely, but there are campaigns that kind of just eke by. That being said, eking by isn't necessarily what you want to do, both as a company, because obviously people can cancel. Of course, pledge managers can increase as well. It could go up, could go down, but you are riding that line, right? Especially over the course of a delivery as people kind of move on and stuff like that. You kind of almost have to expect perhaps a negative drop in backers as stuff happens. Now that means you make the product and you know, not have to ship it to somebody, but I mean, it's still like you want to do well, right? Everybody wants to have a successful stuff. That and it's nice to have a true goal there, right? I mean, the 172 sounds a lot more legitimate. I think with that, they should be able to deliver it. If they can't, then they did something wrong. So let's go and take a look. Let's try and see what's going on here. So first of all, cool art, of course, right off the bat, a pretty good elevator pitch here when it comes to that, at least of what it is. Core game here. This is probably the first issue I have here. Again, this looks very generic, just like the other one. Now, not quite as generic. It's got some good color to it, perhaps. But at the end of the day, that looks like almost every other dungeon crawl I have. So that's not enough. And it says here 61 miniatures, but you're not seeing that in this, right? You're seeing just a handful of minis on a little map, and it's a lot of negative space, right? There's certainly a lot of extra room here. It doesn't say this is something new and unique and different and you definitely want this, right? That's not screaming that to me. I don't know. Let me know if it does to you. But I think, again, this is so important to just, it's the first impression, and it's going to color the rest of their scroll as they look through things. In fact, you might get a bounce off right here. This is an exit point. Anytime you have a point where the person might say, nope, I'm out, you need to be extra careful there. And I think showing the game off is a nope, I'm out, or yes, I want to invest more of my limited free time looking into this product to see if I want to buy it or not. So I think this could do a lot better. I think that's definitely an important thing here. And again, it's cool to list all this, and I love that it's not some giant scroll. Actually, I do appreciate that, at least at the beginning. But it could still show the 61 miniatures better. It could still, you get what I'm saying? There's just ways to make this have a lot more oomph, a lot more impact, I feel. Okay, but why back now? That's good to see right here. Though, again, there is this kind of big, and again, it's a great, cool-looking mini for sure, right? But it is kind of like negative space too. But you get the free gift of kind of what you can get there. Okay, that's nice as well. And then what's in the box? This is a little bit of a mistake because it is a long scroll. This is, I think, fine to do later on, but I don't even know how to play your game yet. And I'm busy looking at single miniatures here. It is great to see they're 40 millimeter, by the way. That's awesome. Those are big minis. That's nice. That's chunky. I dig it. The minis, I think, look great too. And again, it's like 3 of these, but you're seeing just miniature plus art. So you get kind of a lost sense of the fact that you're getting 6 of these guys, for instance, and 6 of these. Fantastic Wraith, by the way. Again, I'm loving the miniature design. I'm loving the art. I like everything I'm seeing here. I think it's just an organization thing, if that makes sense. In my opinion, anyway. Okay, again, 50 game tiles, all that looks great. Whole bunch of different cards and whatnot. And again, they're not showing all of them, right? They're 22 here, 42 here. They're showing 2 cards. Well, I guess they're a little deck there. I guess that's a deck. Yeah, a little deck. Custom dice, that's great. I love that. That looks super cool. I dig that. And it's interesting that they have like gem dice too. And kind of how that works, I'm not exactly sure. Okay, $120. Again, I feel like that's a good price. Honestly, I think this looks nice. I think it's mostly just a delivery thing. In other words, it's not even the product. It's not even the game, though. Notice we still haven't really gotten into how to play the game yet, right? We're looking now expansions, stuff like that. Other side of the midnight, here you can give us more money. But what makes this game unique yet? I don't know. Optional buys, you're still looking at product here. We get more optional buys. Okay, that's great. Yes. And then how to add optional buys. Stretch goals. Okay, we haven't gone to that. Game highlights. We're finally at the game highlights. I feel this is too low. But again, you say game highlights and then you just give a wall of text. This is not, this is lore. And lore is great for people who want to seek that out, but it is something that is sought out, I feel. Not something that you just throw at them. I know you're excited about the world you made, but let's put at least the gameplay above the history of the elves or, whatever, right? There's a reason people read The Lord of the Rings and then go read the Silmarillion and don't just be like, ooh, the Silmarillion, I want to read about all this lore and then eventually a cool story, right? It's like, well, let's get the cool story and then go from there. And so then after this, and it's already out of this, then we start talking about exploring dungeons and stuff like that. Though again, very kind of high level. We now get into the innovative game system. And so like, again, if it's an innovative game system, don't make me scroll 2/3 of the way. I'm like down here on my scroll bar. I'm almost done with the scroll and I'm now finally finding out how it's innovative. And it is just kind of a wall of text, so there's that as well. So yeah, just some improvements there. Finally download the rulebook and then languages. It's like the last thing they have is it's like a gameplay related, which is kind of rough. Otherwise, I think, again, it looks like a good game. It looks like a strong proponent to do well. It just needs a little bit of TLC when it comes to the campaign. And again, they're a new company. I get that. That's why I do the consulting service I do, right? To kind of help with stuff like this. Okay, moving on from that, we have Goblin Uprising, $45,000, $75,000 goal. Again, 45,000, I feel is actually pretty good, but again, not enough, according to their goal they have. And I can understand that. 274 backers. It's a very, kid-oriented game, I would say. It is co-op. It is PvP. It does have a campaign. You play as goblin versions of stuff. which is cool. So you have like these kind of kid goblin stuff, you know, a druid and a ranger and stuff like that. And then you have these guardian miniatures that are actually quite big. It looks decent enough. The price is $99. I think that's the killer here. You know, you're looking at like, okay, so 60 adventure cards, that's cool and all that, though. The cards look fairly much just like the same art on them in each one. You get 6 guardian cards, 80 goblin cards. That's pretty cool. Like, that's not too bad. Like, it's okay, but I mean, $100 is pretty rough. And the next bump up, $200 if you actually want minis for everything. That's a hard sell. The minis do look cool. I actually like the design of them. There's a lot of repeats though, even then, which means like it doesn't actually cost that much to make 6 of these. The sculpt's all the same. You just print it 6 times, right? So, I mean, I just don't feel like the deal is quite there. And of course, there's outreach and stuff like that as well. All right, next up we have Survival of the Fattest. This one's actually almost backed, which is great because it has a great name. I love this. I feel I could start winning this. This is now a competitive game. I might actually be able to win. Survival of the Fattest, $34,000 raised out of 38,597 backers. I think this will make it, guys. I really do. Still 21 days to go, so I think it's good. And if it's made this close to it, with the competition has now the next wave of competition, which we will get to here very shortly, actually, it's going to do okay. So I think this one will actually make it. The early bird, I think, is limited by the slots, so there are actually still 15 left, which is nice, which means you can get it for a cool $42. Now, this is actually a better kind of first impression. I feel it does show a lot of stuff. It makes the minis pretty small and the sneeze pretty small. Like, those look tiny in this picture, though it is followed up right afterwards by these bigger renders, which I think does help a little bit. But I mean, these are actually pretty chunky minis, and it would be great to kind of show that because right here it looks kind of tiny. Like, it looks almost smaller than a card, which, you know, I mean, cards like that, you're talking like this for the big bear thing. And I mean, that may be the case. I actually don't remember the scale. I just remember I think it was pretty decent. I think it says that. It also doesn't show kind of like a wide back now, I think, very well. And again, it does have that problem where the bigger number, especially with a $, Australian dollars are killer for this, because people are going to casually glance to see the $, 64 and think $64 USD. It's what we are normally used to seeing, and it's the same symbol. It's very rough. It's unfortunate. A lot of people are going to miss that AU and just see the 69 and think, yeah, I'm like buying this for $70. If that makes sense. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even sell or talk about the scale. I thought it did. But I still think the game looks adorable. There is an exclusive Fox as well. So there's that as well. Okay, next up, Boglins. Battle for the Boglins. 16,000 raised out of 60,000 needed. Not going to make it. So 20 days to go, which is great. However, the traction's going to get less, not more, and there's just too much ground, I think, to cover on this one. Which I think this might be the first one Jack Dyer kind of messed up on when it came to the this game system that he has. Boglins are super cool. I think a lot of us remember them when it comes to like you know, the back when in my day when they made toys kind of stuff. All of them have a lot of personality, which I think is awesome. I think that's super cool as well. Gatefall, yeah. But sadly, it's just not enough. And I'm wondering if there's not enough hoopla about it leading up to it. It did just kind of pop up. Like, I just randomly happened to see it. And additionally, and this is kind of interesting, so a little bit preview for you guys, but they're going to make a lot more of these. And what I mean by that is if we keep scrolling down here, Gatefall Monsters, Gatefall 80s Zombies, Gatefall Kung Fu, Gatefall Bounty Hunters, Gatefall Wild West, The Lost in the Northwoods, the Gatefall Art Series, and then, of course, the Gatefall Kickstarter thing itself. The problem with, I think, showing all this, I think that's cool that that's doing that, but it also makes it seem like, hey, do you want to get into the system? It's going to end up costing a lot to get everything because we're going to keep coming out with more stuff. So this comes in January, and then a little bit later, and then a little bit later, and then a little bit later. So I think it almost kind of hurts it more than helps it. I think it's cool to see all your upcoming stuff, and it's great that you have something kind of zombicide-ish that you can flavor differently with different themes. But I think in this case, it actually kind of hurts to show it all. which hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Grimdark Dungeon Master is doing better than it did last time, I feel, but still far from the $50,000 goal. 88 backers 17 days ago, and it's pretty much dead in the water at this point. It's really rough. It actually does some stuff really good. Like, I really like unique gameplay. Right off the bat, boom, look, unique gameplay. 1 to 3 hero players. Okay, that's not very unique. Versus a villain player. Okay, that's still not very unique. Villain tactically spawns and controls hordes of minions. Again, still not very unique. You're essentially saying 1 versus many, but it set it in a very cool way for sure. Lightning fast, play in an hour. Okay, all right, now we're talking a little bit. Heroes purged a tile, flip it, force goal location. So again, another unique kind of thing. This is a decent enough start and introduction to the game. Hey, what makes it cool? High quality components, and talks about that. Okay, that's pretty cool too. I would pump the contrast up on this image a little bit here and wash this out as much. It's a little bright. But other than that, okay, pretty decent. Pretty decent. Also, the one that you show the most, this like I guess it's actually a different mini, but anyway, these seem a little dark when it comes to the image of it. So that almost needs a little bit of highlighting up, some need a little bit darkening down. 4-minute dungeon minis, 5 minion types, 84 hero team combos, 12 million layouts. Again, decent stuff to put up there, right? I mean, not too bad. You still haven't really told me too much, but you got my interest. But then we start getting into the problem here, and a lot of that, besides the image quality, is very small text. You can tell this image was made for a different format. It was game found. And so everything just seems a little shrunken. And there was a lot of, just white space galore here that makes it seem a lot more, like there's not a lot of stuff than you would think. And then the question marks that I don't think help as well. So yeah, just, oddities all around that. And I still don't really know how to play the game, and I've scrolled quite a bit, right? I mean, you guys gotta sell the gameplay, not just talk about the game. Okay, Pintamonas, Pintamonas, whatever. It's a game where you paint through a timer, which is kind of cool. And then you can actually watch the mini and paint again. Cool idea, very unique. A hard sell, especially for the price. So 17,000 raised, wants 74,000. The core game costs $94, which is a lot for what you get. It really, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. But that's a lot for, or this one, like this looks cool. You're getting one of the expansions. Pick one, and that's your $135, right? You get the expansion. You want the kind of the all in here. We're talking $300. Now, what do you get? Well, you get this like tray here where you get all the like kind of colors and this palette thing. Like it looks neat, but that's not a lot of stuff. It really isn't. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's a hard sell for the price. It's very much a novelty thing, which is unfortunate. I wish they could have gone a little bit cheaper because it's a cool idea. I really dig the idea of it. I just think the price is way out there, sadly. Okay, Forged Adventure Series 1 relaunch, still not there. Now, they are closer, and this is a better offering, but they're still kind of just barely chugging along. 30,000. They won't need a 50,000 from 269 backers, which certainly isn't the most backers. They did change quite a bit. And if you recall, here's the first one here. Let me go here. So they made 20,000 and they wanted 145,000, 141 backers. So more backers, doing better. Here the offer was 101 tabletop minis for $140. And then here, if I go to pledge levels, you're going to notice here that there's a lot more options. But if you go to like the main one here, the adventure box, $108, right? 50. So not as good bang for your buck count wise, but there's a big difference there, right? This was selling it by 101, but if you look, it's a lot of repeats. This is one mold. So you're just getting a handful of molds here. Now, they're not offering a lot of these. These mushrooms, they're gone. These reapers, they're gone. Like a lot of that is. But they replaced it with a lot of unique sculpts, which is great. And again, this is a good picture to show. Here's everything you get. And I think that shows it very well. This is good. This is a good picture. I like seeing that kind of right up front. That's actually quite nice. And then, of course, this is good, too, to seeing all the boxes. Like, there's not a lot of negative space here. 5e compatible. Like, these are good pictures. I really do dig that. I think that's important. And it goes low to high, of course. $40 for 17 minis. So a little bit more than a buck a mini, but they are all unique. So that's nice at least, but it's certainly not the, it's not a crazy deal, I guess is what I would say there. $50 for the STL. It's cool they're doing the STLs. And you'll see there are 35 unique sculpts actually in this thing. So far cry from 101 minis, but you're not getting spammed with repeats. There are repeats. Okay, so there are definitely repeats in there, and they're separating them so it looks better, of course, but not nearly as much. Like in the original one, you'll see they had the slime, this ooze right here, and here, that's just one of the sculpts. The other ones are all now a little bit different. So there's that one, this one, this one, so 3. Right, and they do that on pretty much all of these, right? As kind of a 3 sculpt, just a repeat of 1, which is, I think, better when it comes to what you're actually offering. But the price did go up, right? And so to get kind of everything there, you got 120. Remember, it was 140 for 101 minis. So it's 120 for 50. But again, far less repeats. And I think, honestly, a lot of them look better anyway. So there's that too. Now, their unlocks are going to be a whole bunch of cool dragons, so that's neat. I dig that. And they do have a lot of these add-ons too to add little things like that. Overall, this is a better campaign. Pretty much plain and simple. But it's still kind of getting there. It's still struggling a little bit. HeroScape, Age of Annihilation. Guys, this is going to make it. 13 days left, only 3,000 backers. They wanted 8,000. This is not going to be paid. And honestly, they changed it. So look at this. So this is a new image that they've kind of put up there as the default. And it shows even like a little katana here. But it's trying to show here's all the content you get. So they are actually trying to work on this to show, hey, you get a whole bunch of stuff. Because the first one, I said this every time I covered it, didn't show it very well. It was, let's see, it wasn't even this image. What image was it that you like defaulted on? Let me see here. They may not even have that image anymore. Oh, here it is. I think it was this, but minus even this. I don't think even this was down there. So either way, it was pretty much this, which looks cool, but it doesn't look like it's $250 cool, right? And in fact, even with seeing it all laid out, it still doesn't quite look $250 cool. That's pretty pricey, especially considering they don't paint them anymore. Though they look pretty decent, at least render wise, they look nice. So, yeah, just unfortunate because they're not going to make it. They're not going to make enough. Let's talk about new stuff, The Last of Us. Now, I have talked about CMON's The Last of Us. This is not it. This looks like something that some of you are going to love and some of you are going to hate. If you didn't know, big fan of The Last of Us, one of the best games I've ever played. We're talking about the first one only. So, like, really, really good. Like, I actually started replaying it here recently for a little bit. It's just a fun game. I love the crafting. I love the stealth kills. I love the story, the narrative, the gripping action sequences. Man, that first time when you like get in the trap and you're hanging upside down and like the guys are coming, you're shooting at them upside down. Like, it's just fantastic set piece stuff like that. That's what I've always said would make a great The Last of Us game, right? Is these set pieces. Do you remember rolling the car with a sniper, right? And you're like trying to like get the car to start and you're doing all this stuff and you're having to stop and then deal with people that are attacking you and then roll it some more. There's all these like set pieces in that game. You know, the boss fight with the guy that's like trying to eat you. I mean, like, it's crazy stuff, right? Very cool, very awesome gameplay. And it just set piece. That is the game to me. Stealth combat, gripping narrative, huge action sequences that are grisly and like stealth. Did I mention stealth crafting? If not, either way, like stealth crafting, action sequences, narrative. That to me is The Last of Us at its core. This is only a few of those. So if you didn't know, this is by Atheneborn, who do some of people's favorite stuff. Let's go and look here. It's called Escape the Dark, and that's because it's part of the Escape the Dark stuff. They did, in fact, he mentions it right here. They did Escape the Dark Castle and Escape the Dark Sector. So they did kind of the fantasy and sci-fi, and now they're doing an Escape the Dark The Last of Us. So it is pretty much that. It's all in black and white, and it is very much a... abstract game if you were with an IP. So it does mention it's going to have like crafting and some survival stuff, and you play as all these kind of main characters. I know a lot of them like Triss like die early on, but okay, fine, she's alive here, whatever. And you're just trying to like survive and kind of do that. And you do have these cards, you know, item and crafted item and upgraded weapon. You do have these like issues that are coming up. You kind of have to work together to resolve, and you're placing tiles and tokens and generic white and black cubes and stuff like that. They say, again, crafting, but this obviously doesn't have, you know, the huge gripping narrative that you would expect. It doesn't have any kind of like stealth mechanics that I can tell of any kind, and certainly no big action sequences. And so it's missing like 3 of the 4 things. So to me, while I think it looks awesome, and I'm glad for people that like it and this style of game, which is super cool, I really am, not what I want for The Last of Us IP, if that makes sense. Now, that doesn't mean that if I was to get this series, this wouldn't be the one I get, because I do like the IP. I'm just saying, like, to me, this doesn't really scream The Last of Us, at least in my head. Maybe in yours. You let me know. Of course, are you excited about this? I imagine a lot of people are, because I know they love these games, like, or a lot. And I think that's great. That's super cool. So yeah, that's coming out here soon. And that is a fantastic box cover that will get people to pick up your game. I'd be like, what the frick is this? Freaking awesome, even though I didn't know what The Last of Us is. Well, that is a clicker, and you don't want to hug them. Okay, moving on from that, we have Street Fighter V Champion Edition Legends. This is the preview page coming up. If you recall, this is actually by Colossal Games. They bought the rights to this from Blacklist Games, so which means people still get their game, which is awesome. I think that's great. So there is a sign-up page there. You can go and at least follow it. It's free to do so. Okay, we also have Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the board game. This is coming out November 15th now, so pretty darn soon here, right? Very soon. And I do have a copy of that right over there. So I will be telling you all about that very, very soon for you guys. Stay tuned for that. Additionally, there is this. This is the Curse of Candelabria, and this is also coming out on November 15th. So, again, very unique game when it comes to that, and I do have a copy of this as well. I'll try and let you know about both of them in time. Let's see how good I can do on that. There's a sign-up page of that as too. Now, November 22nd is Elden Ring. Guys, Kickstarter, GameFound, all of these things are on fire. Q4 of each year is just insanity. So we got The Last of Us coming out. We got Elden Ring coming out. We got Curse of Candelabria. We got the Heroes of Might and Magic 3. We got all these like big things, right, coming out. This looks super duper cool. Super pumped about Elden Ring. I'll let you guys know more about that very soon. We have Tiny Epic Crimes coming out here soon as well. This is by GameLink Games and their Tiny Epic series. A lot of people love these. This funds very well every time it's there, and I'm sure this will do quite well as well. Already almost 5,000 followers, so stay tuned for that. Now, let's talk about a couple quick updates. The next one I'm going to end it on, and that's where a 200 or a 2 million plus campaign was canceled. We're going to talk about that. This is Harakiri Blades of Honor, and some kind of oddities there. They were going to do a social stretch goal where 1,000 members of each of their social networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they were going to add foil cards. And those jerks that don't like foil cards are like, no, I don't like cool things. Make them boring. And so... I'm kidding, by the way. Calm down. So they're like, oh crap, people don't like it. I guess I kind of worry. Like, they talked about how like a lot of people don't like it, and I'm sure a lot of people don't. But I also know that even the comments you read, you have to realize are a subset of a subset. It's a subset of your backers, and it's a subset of those that are still reading updates this late into it and following things. And then on that note, also passionate enough to actually say something about it. And most of the time that passion is negative. That's how us humans work. So I do caution a little bit about that, about like, don't too closely follow that, assuming that speaks for everybody. I personally love foil cards because they're super duper cool, and I'm a kid inside. So anyway, I would have been fine with that. But what they decided to do instead is actually, and I don't know if right here, they're going to do a raffle where somebody gets whatever this thing is. 3 people do, 1 for each one. So yeah, I don't think that's a great solution either. Just to give something, you know, just raffling something to 3 people to celebrate a community goal, I think is not the best fit. I don't have any problem with a raffle at all, and if you want to give away stuff, that's fine. It just seems like an odd fit for let's celebrate the community and give away just like 3 things. So anyway, I mean, I don't think it's a good fit. They also talked about upgrading some of their icons or some of their tokens. So here's the old ones, here's the new ones. In my opinion, while I think they're all higher quality, I like the contrast to be a lot higher. So like this actually isn't that great because it's bright green on bright green, but dark green on dark green doesn't necessarily work either. At the end of the day, like this actually is probably one of the better ones. Because it's a pretty good contrast. This is a very poor contrast. These seem a little darker. Seems like heart, stuff like that. So I'm cool with these. I would just like to lighten up the background on literally all of them, just to get that contrast. Even this one, I feel this is better than this one when it comes to just readability like that. So just my personal opinion. Otherwise, I think the art's fine. And then of course, the modular desk, built by Wyrmwood, designed by you, canceled. Well, I didn't design a canceled campaign. 2.2 million raised. They had a 3 million goal, 1,200 backers. First of all, crazy to have a 3 million goal, and that's wild. And yeah, just wasn't gonna make it. This is by Wyrmwood too, which do great stuff. Super expensive stuff, and I think that a lot of that is the problem. This looks super cool. And again, a great little intro here, GIF showing you kind of the desk itself. Like all that looks super awesome, right? That's cool. I dig that. And all the different options you can get and blah, 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 blah. Just in the end of the day, it's really expensive. For instance, this is a deposit of $500. That should give you ample information on how expensive this is. This is definitely premium stuff. So it's super cool. It's also super freaking pricey. so there is that. You know, I mean, shoot, if you got the money, go for it. But, yeah, it just, it's not the money I have, even if it's really sexy. So yeah, unfortunate for sure. This is probably the biggest funded campaign I know of that has been canceled. $2.2 million. Still not enough. What a world we live in. And yeah, that's all I have. So have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. I got some reviews coming up. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff to discuss. So let's go ahead and do that real soon. Catch you then. Take care. Bye, guys.